welcome to another video. So, Grok has been on a roll recently. They launched their new models in the API. Grok-3 Mini is insanely cheap, and even Grok Studio is actually really amazing for sure. However, one thing that they also launched is Grok Workspaces, and it is actually quite cool. That's why I thought to talk about the Workspaces feature, and the reason that I'm really liking it. There are actually multiple reasons that I really like it over the other options. ChatGPT and Claude also have these options, mainly known as the project options. However, these options are only available to Pro or Plus members, which is not so good. But Grok's Workspace option is actually free, which is the best part. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's basically a feature that allows you to upload a bunch of documents, custom instructions, and stuff, and then talk about the context accordingly. But how is it different from just attaching PDFs in a chat? Well, what it allows you to do is just dump in all the files that you have related to a work or a project. So, like, if I'm doing in-depth research on a topic, then I can go and drop in a ton of documents, images, and stuff here. Then I can do multiple threads of conversation with it, and it will only reference the context that it needs to, which is much more efficient as well. That's the major difference from that. Once you start using it, you'll get the hang of it. Another thing that is really great, which is not available on the other options, is the option to use deep search, deeper search, and even thinking options. You can create multiple conversations in here and use it. It is free with the limits that you get with free Grok, which is still great and really usable. Another thing that is doable here is the option to set custom instructions. You can just go here, and in here, you can easily set the system prompt for how you want it to talk, or give it even more context about what you're trying to achieve, and stuff like that. Also, you can create as many workspaces as you want, and Document Edition doesn't seem to have much of a limit as well. Apart from all this, you can also enable the search option here and ask it to do stuff accordingly, which is also amazing. It's probably the first one that I have seen that has this workspace or project-like feature for free, which is actually kind of amazing. Anyway, so here you can just upload the documents and images that you want it to reference, and you can also bring your Google Docs or OneDrive stuff here as well in one click. Also, I'd recommend you go to the settings via here, and in the data controls, opt out of the Improve the Model option, as that will allow you to not share the data that you give them for training purposes, which is pretty awesome for privacy. So, just do that accordingly. Anyway, you can just upload whatever you want to chat about. I have here uploaded the research paper about DeepSeek and their inference engine overview, and what I'm going to do is ask it to tell me how I can serve it and what hardware I need to do it. So, we can do deep search and thinking as well, if you also want it to have a look at internet searches and stuff like that. I'll just be enabling the think option here, and it is actually quite good that it works with the thinking option, that too for fully free, which is kind of awesome for sure. Anyway, if I wait a bit, then it will just go ahead and read through the data that you have provided, and in just a bit, you'll see that it's now done, and it even works with the studio features, which are basically like artifacts in Canvas. So, if you give it a project requirement document and want it to work on that, then it can go through it and generate a proof of concept in here in seconds, which is actually kind of amazing. I really like this option, as it just allows you to dump in your documents about anything and then talk about it. I've been a fan of their web interface as well, because it just looks so good and is very snappy in comparison to ChatGPT and stuff, which are very buggy at times. Their new Grok-3 Mini is what is empowering all this, I believe, as it has a 1 million token context window and is actually really good with high reasoning accordingly, which is kind of awesome. The 1 million token context window is actually amazing for most of the parts that you use it for, especially in this workspace option, which is awesome. Another thing that they have recently added is the memory option. The memory option basically means that it can now remember what you talked about with it in the last threads. It is similar to the ChatGPT memory that OpenAI recently launched. So, if you ask it about a condition, then some other day, if you again ask it about some other condition, it can know what medication you are already taking and then only give you medications that don't contradict with it. This is a medical use case, but it can also come in handy to reference your coding practices or anything like that, which is actually great. You'll see it work insanely well in some cases, and when it references something, then it will almost feel like magic. Sometimes it will think of some other memory in correlation with something that is different and doesn't make sense to use. You can enable or disable this in the settings as well by going to the data controls and then disabling it here if that's needed. I really like this one as well, and I have been using Grok for multiple things, especially search-related stuff, as it's really good at that. I found this workspace option super useful because I make videos, and I can easily put in a whole GitHub repo, chat about how it works, and make my videos more detailed accordingly, which is actually kind of great for sure. The deeper search is also kind of good, and all this is free to use and doesn't cost you a $200 subscription, which is actually kind of amazing. If you have their premium, then it's even better with crazy better limits. So, that's kind of cool for sure. They are also apparently giving out free subscriptions if you are a student and have an EDU email. So, check that out if you are eligible. Let me know what you guys think about this, and if you have been using it or not. I have been using it a lot these days, and found these upgrades kinda super useful, and that's why I thought to talk about these upgrades, which can be really great in everyday tasks. Please subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts as well. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!